Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
Yes, sir.
So, today we'll be discussing about Article 15. So, what Article 15 does, it says there is no discrimination on the ground of religion, race, caste, and sex, and place of birth, etc. Okay, so it actually prohibit the discrimination on these grounds. So, first, we'll talk in brief all the clauses of Article 15, and thereafter I'll discuss everything in details. For example, there are many concepts. Say, for example, residence. Now, what is residence? So there are very people who must be knowing this thing. Apart from that, uh, you won't be knowing this thing. So we'll discuss all these things. So some things we'll be discussing today, and some things we'll be discussing tomorrow. So Article 15(1) says it basically specifically bars the state from discriminating against any citizen of India. Remember this thing, against any citizen of India on grounds only. So there are two things. First thing is that any citizen of India, and second thing only. So only of, let me tell you ground, only of religion, race, caste, sex, and place of birth. So apart from these five grounds, the state can discriminate one thing. So only these five grounds are there on which state cannot discriminate. Apart from that, state can discriminate one thing. Second thing, it can it is available only for the citizens, that it cannot discriminate any citizen of India. However, in case of any foreigner, they can be discriminated under this article. All right. Now we'll talk about Article 15(2). So 15(2) basically prohibit subjection of a citizen to any disability, liability, restriction, or condition on grounds only of religion, same grounds, religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. With regard to first thing, access of shops, public restaurant, hotels, and place of entertainment. Second thing, the use of wells, tanks, bathing ghats, road, places of public resort, maintained wholly or partly out of the state funds or dedicated to use of general public. So now I have a question for you. Say for example, this is a road and this is my property. All right. And there's a small pathway that goes to my property. Now there's a well in my property. So what used to happen, there is a place somewhere around 300 meter from my property, and there's another place around 400 meter from my property. So what used to happen, that people from this place and this place used to come to my place and on my well, and they used to draw water from it. Now suddenly what I have done, that I have asked people from a particular community that is called X, that you will not come. Okay, or I can say particular caste X, that now you cannot come to my well. Okay, and you are not allowed to draw water from my well. So can that this person go to Supreme Court or High Court and can complain about that his fundamental right is being violated on, and can say that under Article 15(2) he has been discriminated? Can he say this thing?
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
No, sir.
Why can't he say?
So because it is a private property.
So it's a private property. It means that I can discriminate anyone? Earlier, I did not discriminate. Now all of a sudden, I don't know what had happened to me, and I started discriminating people. So if either I shouldn't have allowed in past, but then I allowed those people, then I should allow these people now also. Now I'm discriminating on these people on the basis of caste. Why can't they go to court? Tell me, anyone?
Sir, I think they can go to the court because they are discriminating on the basis of caste.
Anyone else?
Sir, in court also, like if they go
Sir,
to
if
court.
person is denying, like for the general,
Yes, Monica.
sir, in general way, if a person is denying, in that case, yeah, sir, in general way, if he is denying, in that case, they should like they could not go to court. But if it's based on the caste, a particular community, in that case, yes, they can go to the court.
See, I tell you what happens. That actually this was in my private property. However, it was dedicated to use of general public. Have you heard this thing? That either it is funded by state fund, okay, or dedicated to use of general public. So earlier it was dedicated to, I have told everyone that anyone, my forefathers have told everyone that you can come and this is for general public, though it's located in our property, but it's for the use of general public. And all of a sudden I started discrimination on the basis of caste. That I can't do actually. Are you getting this thing? But now I dug a well and I say that only these people can come and these people cannot come, then it's okay. But it is coming for 50 years, 60 years. All right. So if you see the general position, then I cannot discriminate on the basis of caste. All right. I can make some reasonable classification that these people are, you know, cre- creating some this dirt or anything, and therefore I will not allow these people. Okay, but I can't particularly say that on the basis of caste because earlier my forefathers have dedicated this thing for the use of general public. So if anything which is dedicated to use of general public, then I cannot then no one can discriminate on the basis of these ground. Did you understand this thing? Now what does article 15.3 says?
So it empowers state to make special provisions for women and children.
Okay, so basically it says that state can make special provision for women and children. What does Article 15.4 says? Okay, I'm telling, giving you one statement that Article 29 subclause 2, Article 29 subclause 2 prevent state from making special provision for the advancement of any socially and educationally backward class. This statement is correct or incorrect?
So correct.
Why this is correct?
So can you please repeat the statement?
Statement is that Article 29, subclause 2, prevent state from making any special provision for the advancement of any socially and educationally backward class. It is correct or incorrect?
Sir, it's incorrect.
Why this is incorrect?
So because in Article 29, it is written that any section of citizens can be given affirmative action can be and for any section of citizens affirmative action can be taken, so it does
Yes,
not discriminate on the basis of minority and or majority.
yes, exactly, Gargi. All right. So remember this thing that Article 15.4 and 29.2 does not prevent state from making any special provision for the advancement of any socially and educationally backward classes of citizens or for the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribe. All right. Now we'll talk about Article 15.5. See, these I'm just giving you brief about these article. In detail, we are going to discuss in next 5 minutes. All right. Once you have idea, because what happens sometimes UPSC asks directly question from the barrack. So I'm telling you things from the barrack that in case if you don't remember anything, but if you remember these things also, and if UPSC is asking, then you are able to answer. See, what I'm going to do that first I'm going to discuss entire polity. So the discussion will be for the purpose of prelims and mains. Okay, so I'll tell you how they'll ask question in mains and how they can ask question in prelims. Both of the things I'll be telling you. Once we are done with polity, then we'll start economics. So we'll be doing all 5 6 subject and current affairs also. So for current affairs, what we are doing right now, I am actually giving you those topics to present. They are in the news for one reason or the another reason. So one way or the other way, we are completing current affairs also. Fine. Yeah. So now I want to ask a particular question, and who is going to tell me that by which constitutional amendment act Article 15, Subclause 5 had been added in the Constitution? Anyone?
So 93rd Amendment.
Yes. 93rd Constitutional Amendment Act 2005. All right. So Article 15.5 was added in the Constitution by 93rd Constitutional Amendment Act of 2005. And what it does, it says that under Article 15.5 or under Article 19(1)(g). Remember these things because these things obviously we'll be discussing. But right now also you need to remember these things that 15.5 or 19(1)(g), the state is not prevented. So these two articles do not prevent state from making any special provision for the advancement of all the same thing. This goes in Article 15.4. The only thing is that special provision relates to their admission. So Article 15.5 specifically talks about the admission to educational institution, including private education institution other than the minority educational institution referred to in Article 31. So please remember that they can be discriminated under Article 31. 31 can bar them, but Article 15.5 and 19(1)(g) cannot. All right. So this 15.5 deals with admission in higher educational institution. Remember this thing. Okay, it is almost same. It is as same as Article 15.4. The only change is related to admission in higher institution. Fine. Now same thing goes in Article 15.6 also. What is Article 15.6? Anyone, if you can tell me about? First question is that uh, by which constitutional amendment act Article 15.6 was added in the Constitution?
103rd.
Yes, 103rd. What does it say?
Sir, it gives reservation for economically weaker section.
So if I say that people who belong to other backward classes mentioned in Article 15.4, if they are economically backward, then they will also get reservation under Article 15.6. This statement is correct or incorrect?
Correct.
My voice is clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I just right. Okay. Yes, tell me, is it correct or incorrect?
Sir, can you repeat the question?
The question is that Isha told me that those people who are economically weaker, they can avail the reservation under Article 15(6). So I asked her one thing, that say for example, Article 15(4) says that those people who are who are socially and educationally backward, okay, so they can also be economically weak, right? Isn't it? So my question is that, say for example, those people who belong to category under Article 15(4), but they are also economically weak, then can they avail reservation under Article 15(6) or not? This is my question.
No, sir, they cannot.
Why?
Mm. Sir, it's written
Sir,
there that they can only those people who are not covered by the other articles can avail reservation through 15(6).
Yeah, exactly. So the first clause, subclause of Article 15(6) says that it exclude those people who are covered under Article 15(4) and 15(5). So whether they are economically weak or not, it doesn't matter. But if they are covered under Article 15(4) and 15(5), then they will be excluded from Article 15(6). All right. So it simply says that that state can make any special provision for the advancement of any economically weaker section of citizen other than the classes mentioned in clause 4 and 5. And second subclause B says that it talks about educational institution. That's it. Same wordings, everything is same. It's just that admission in higher institution. All right. So this we are done with the direct reading. Now, okay, I have a question. Uh, the Constitution of India defines economical weaker section. This statement is correct or incorrect?
Incorrect.
Incorrect. Correct, sir.
incorrect.
Sir, incorrect.
Who said correct? This statement is incorrect. So who will define EWS?
The states have been given the power now.
Tell me.
Sir, EW is basically that category of population whose income is below means a specified limit.
No, no, Aman, this is not the question. First thing that you need to understand the question. So the question is that who will define or who will notify EWS category?
So president will notify it.
So recently powers were given to states.
Yes, tell me.
The powers were given to states to notify
So
the.
your voice is not audible.
Now it's audible.
Yes, sir. It is echoing.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. Just give me a second. Now it's fine.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so basically, there is a explanation given in this particular article only, and it says that state shall notify uh, who are uh, who are in the category of EWS, and the basis will be family income and other indicator of economic disadvantage. All right. Now, first, I want to discuss a term that is discrimination. So, my first question is that whether the statement is the Constitution of India define discrimination. Now, Bhavna, you tell me this statement is correct or incorrect.
Please repeat the question.
The question is that the Constitution of India defines the term discrimination. It is correct or incorrect?
I didn't know the proper answer, but it may be yes because it had given some certain grounds that on which it can be discriminated people. So,
Anyone else? Gargi?
sir,
So
Yes, Monica, go ahead.
yes, sir. So discrimination, at particular definition is not defined in the constitution.
Yes, Constitution does not define discrimination. Then what is discrimination? Anyone, if you can tell me what is discrimination?
Treating a certain class of uh, person or people differently.
Yes, but you said that treating a class of people differently, that's what you have said, right?
Or person.
Or persons. So, say for example, if a person who is physically disabled, okay, and he wants to that our country is involved in war, and he said that I want to go and fight war. So, government of India says that your physical condition is not allowing you to fight war, therefore you should stay at home. So this person, what he does, he goes to Supreme Court and he said that I am being discriminated just because I am physically disabled. Then whether this is discrimination or not.
so can
Sir,
it be
is it
called a protective?
reasonable classification?
Yes, pardon, Mayuri, come again.
Sir, is it reasonable classification?
Yes, it's a reasonable classification. We can say this thing. Because there are two things that the criteria to uh, fight in war is to be physically fit. Okay, so if this person is not physically fit, how can he go into war, right? So these are very simple things. So okay, I want to ask one question that say for example, it is Mr. X. Can he claim reservation under Article 15? He belongs to a particular community, let's say ST. So he is not getting reservation. Can he claim under Article 15? Can he go to Supreme Court and can he ask Supreme Court to issue amendments to executive so that he can get reservation? Can he claim as a right under Article 15 and 16 also? Anyone? Okay, Manushi, why can't he claim?
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are.
Yeah. So he cannot claim because one, he has to first like the government decides like whether or not the person is being discriminated on the basis of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth. And if it's not any of these reasons, there's no reasonable classification that he has no reason to ask for his entitlement or whatever that is.
Actually, I'll tell you one thing, that Article 4, 15 and 16 does not confer any right on any citizen. They are enabling provision for the government. Are you getting this thing? They are enabling provision for the government to make provision for those people who are at disadvantage. The reason of disadvantage could be anything, but those who are at disadvantage, for them, constitutes for them, the government can frame provisions for their advancement, and these two provision enable government. So these are actually enabling provision. All right. So no one can claim as a right under these two articles. No one can claim reservation as a right under these two articles. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So I was talking about discrimination. So discrimination occur when you are distinguished or treated in less favorable manner than another person under similar circumstances, or if you are disadvantaged by being placed on equal footing with another different circumstances. Now I'll tell you one thing. I'll give you a simple example and it will make you very easy to understand what is discrimination. This is a ball, okay, and my height is 6 feet. The height of ball is 5 feet 8 inch. Fine. And there is a friend of mine whose height is exactly 5 feet 8 inch. And there is another friend of mine whose height is 5 feet 3 inch. Now what happens? That the cricket match is going on behind this ball, okay, on the other side of ball, and I have we are given the task that those who will summarize the entire cricket match in 20 minutes, they'll get the best prize, and there is only one prize. And they say that you can't use anything, you can't use any tool, you just have to go and you have to see and you have to summarize. So because my height is 6 feet, I can easily see what is happening the next side on the next what is happening next side of the wall. This friend can also see, but he can't see, right? So he can't see. So basically, he is being discriminated. This is a discrimination because he can only get this prize if he is able to see what is happening the next side of the ball. But because his height is only 5 feet 3 inch, and they are not providing any other instruments so that he can stand up on that table or on something, and he can see the match. Therefore, this person is at disadvantaged. So this is a discrimination. Did you understand what is discrimination?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Now I'll give you another example. I'll give you two, three examples so that you have the proper understanding of. This is Mr. X, this is Mr. Y, and this is Mr. Z. So he belongs to a so-called very high caste. Okay, so-called high caste. He also comes from a caste which is, who can go in the house of anyone. Okay, but this person, just because of his caste, he is being treated differently. Nobody allows him to come inside the house. Nobody wants to eat with this guy. So this guy is living in very bad situation, and it is not his fault. The fault is with the people of from these society or these community or these kind caste people, but actually he is being discriminated. So what happens, is this person wants to go into police force. Okay, so what happens that he gives he gives exam and he gives exam, and all of them crack exam, and all of them secured exactly 150 marks out of 200 marks. Now what happens that they say those who have scored 150 or above, they will, yeah, those who have scored 150 or above, they'll be taken into police force. But people from XY caste are excluded. For them, 160 marks are needed. Now, just because he belongs to XY caste, now he can't go into force. So it was his childhood dream, and now he is unable to realize because of some stupid logic, right? He can go, and they are serving. Now, this is a discrimination just because he belonged to a particular caste, and because of his caste, he's being at disadvantage. So this is another kind of discrimination. Are you able to understand?
So isn't this example class legislation?
Pardon, come again.
So isn't this example related to class legislation?
Yes, yes. This is example of class legislation. It's a perfect example. So, did you understand uh, what is discrimination?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now, so I'll talk more about Article 15.1. That 15.1 is an extension of Article 14. Remember this thing. So if there is a statement in the exam that Article 15 is an extension of Article 14, so this statement is correct or incorrect, then this statement will be correct. Second thing, that 15.1 expresses a particular of the general principle of equality that is embodied in Article 14 of the Constitution. Now, just as the principle of classification applies to Article 14, so it does to Article 15.1 as well. Remember this thing, that we have studied, we have read about the doctrine of classification, or we can say principle of classification. So it is applicable for Article 14 as well as Article 15.1. Remember this thing. Okay. Now we'll see the combined effect of Article 14 and 15. So the combined effect of Article 14 and 15 is that the state can pass unequal laws. Okay, my question is that can state pass unequal laws under Article 14 and 15?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay. Taber, are you there? Taber, are you there? Oh, I think she's not. Okay, so you said yes, yes. So the state can pass unequal laws, but if it does pass unequal laws, then the inequality must be based on some reasonable ground. Are you understanding that the ground should be reasonable, that easily you can understand, okay, this is, for example, that the physical fitness criteria in going war, or to get into army or get into police services. So we know that if you are not physically fit, then because there may be riot, there may be any situation, there may be armed rebellion. So if you are not physically fit, then how will you stop those people? Because sometimes you need to use your body force also, right? Therefore, physical fitness criteria in armed services or police forces. All right. So, though it's if you say that it creates kind of inequality, but actually it's a reasonable thing. Fine. Now, in Article 15(1) also, there may be a reasonable classification, but we need to exclude five things. First thing, religion. Second thing, race. Third thing, caste. Fourth thing, sex. And fifth thing, place of birth. All these things we need to exclude if we have to make reasonable classification. Fine. Now I want to ask one question. Say for example, we know that under Article 15(4), a special provision can be made for certain section of society. For example, other backward classes, SCs and STs. So though the section which is not falling under Article 15(4), can the government make provision for those people also? Did you understand what I said? Should I repeat?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we know that as per Article 15(4), the state can make a special provision for a certain section of society, for example, SCs and STs, etc. So there are a section of society that that does not fall under Article 15(4). So my question is that the section that is not falling under Article 15(4), can can state make some special provision for those people also?
I think yes.
Yes, sir.
Can you please give an explanation, Mayuri?
Sir, like, can we apply the concept of affirmative action over here if the state feels that they do not have representation or need the need to be represented? So they can such laws can be framed.
Yes, we can apply affirmative action, and that should be a reasonable. So that if there is reasonable classification, then the provision can be made for those people. Fine. So you have understood about Article uh, uh, 15, right? So I want to tell you two more things about Article 15. That Article 15 is a facet of Article 14. Like Article 14, Article 15(1) also covers the entire range of state activities. But in a way, the scope of Article 15 is narrower than that of Article 14 in several respects. So if a question is coming and question is asking that the scope of Article 15 is wider than Article 14, and they are asking whether this statement is correct or incorrect. So the statement is incorrect because the scope of 14 is wider than 15. All right. Now there are two things. Okay. First thing, that while Article 14 is general in nature, in the sense that it applies both to citizens as well as non-citizens. So I'm telling you the difference between Article 14 and 15. So Article 14 applies to citizen as well as non-citizen. Article 15(1) covers only the Indian citizen and it does not apply to non-citizen. Fine. And no non-citizen can claim any right under Article 15, though he can do under Article 14. So you can claim a right under Article 14, but sorry, for example, a person who is coming from USA, he can claim a right under Article 14, but he cannot claim right under Article 15. Fine. Second thing, that Article 14 permits any reasonable classification on the basis of rational criteria. So the criteria could be anything. It permits reasonable classification. Okay. If a government is bringing any law and the classification is reasonable, then the criteria could be anything. But Article 15 actually, under Article 15(1), certain ground mentioned therein can never form the basis of classification. So no one can be, if government has to come up with a law, then the classification, and government is coming with reasonable classification and everything, but the classification cannot be on the basis of race, religion, caste, sex, place of birth. Fine. Now I have a question for you, and with this question I'll end today's session, and thereafter we'll start with presentation part. So what happened, that the resident of Madhya Pradesh were exempted from payment of a capitation fee for admission to the state medical college, while the non-resident were required to pay the same. Once again, I'll repeat that the resident of state of Madhya Pradesh were exempted from payment of a capitation fee for admission to the state medical college. However, the non-residents were required to pay the same. Now, my question is that whether it will fall under the category of discrimination under Article 15(1) or not, 15, 15(5), 15(4) or not. Sorry, 15(5). So you are saying that they are being discriminated. Sandeep, that's what you are saying, right?
Yes, sir.
So if I challenge that circular in Supreme Court, then the Supreme Court will struck down. That's what you are saying, right?
I'm not sure, but that's what I think, sir.
No, if there is discrimination, then obviously, if there is discrimination under Article 15, then obviously that will be struck down.
Yes, sir. I think the discrimination will be based on a place of birth. So based on that, I said.
Okay, so place of birth. So what kind of then on what basis they are making discrimination?
Sir, as you said, like those who belong to the state, they need not pay the capitation fee, which is being paid by the other people, people from outside Madhya Pradesh. So I think they're discriminating on the basis of the place of birth.
Really?
I don't know the exact thing on what basis they are doing this. So I felt like it is being
See,
done on.
they simply said that the resident of Madhya Pradesh were exempted, but outsiders were not exempted. Those, say for example, if you are a resident of Assam, you are from Assam, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so those people who are from Assam, they or say that those who speak Assamese, they can give Assam Judicial Services Examination. All right. However, those who are from not Assam, they cannot give. So, what is the basis of discrimination?
Sir, on this the basis of
Okay,
discrimination.
let me reframe the question. This is not a good question. So, to appear in Assam Judicial Services Examination, there is a condition that those who are resident of Assam, they need not to take the local language exam. As SME's paper, they need not to take. However, those who want to apply for this particular examination, they have to clear first SME's literature paper, and the label would be 10th class. So they are saying that resident need not to take this exam, but non-resident need to take exam if they want to appear in this examination. Now, I want to ask that what is the basis of discrimination?
Sir, in this case, there might be a strict requirement of knowing the language because of the region.
Yes.
But yeah, for that reason, they might be doing that. And in the other case, it was a financial reason. So on that basis, I thought like it was discriminated on the basis of place of birth.
Okay, I'll give you a reason. The reason is that it's a very simple reason. Say, for example, if you are from Assamese, so if you belong to a particular place, 100% you will know the language of that particular area. In 99.9% case you will know the language of that area. All right. So if you are Assamese, then if you are from Assam, then you must be knowing Assamese.
It's a general thing. It's a common understanding. However, those people who are coming from Assam, the reason is particularly fine that if you have to work in Assam, then you need to know the language of Assamese. If you don't know the language, then how will you communicate with the people of Assam? Those who don't know any other language, they just only know Assamese, right? So they have said that those who are Assamese, they know the language of Assam, but those who are not from Assam, they may or may not. So those who know the language, they can pass this exam and they can appear in this examination, right? Now,
Yes,
did
sir.
you understand?
Yes,
So
sir.
basically, the residence main thing that on the basis of residence, they are coming up with the condition that those who are resident of Assam, they have to give this exam. Now, I'll talk about tomorrow. I'll talk about the reason that why people of Madhya Pradesh, what was the reason to exempt those people from Madhya Pradesh and why they were levying fees on other people. Today, we'll start with the presentation part, and I think Tawir left. She requested me to that she should be allowed to present at 8:30, but 8:40, but she left. So I'll start with Mayank.